Why do women always seem to want the man who doesn't need them? Have you ever noticed that the ones who chase, beg, and desperately try to win love are often the ones who lose it the fastest? While the man who stands strong, who doesn't bend just to please, who doesn't beg for attention, he becomes the one who is desired, respected, and chosen. There's a reason for this, and it's not just some trick or a game. It's human psychology. It's attraction at the deepest level. And once you understand it, it will change how you see yourself, how you see relationships, and how you live your life. Stay with me until the end, because if you do, you'll discover the exact mindset that makes you unstoppable, not only with women, but in every part of your life. That's your reward for staying, the truth that sets you free from neediness forever. Think about this for a moment. Why is it that the things we want the most seem to slip away the moment we chase them? Why is it that the harder we try to grab on, the faster they fade? It's because humans are wired to resist desperation. Deep down, we can all feel when someone needs us too much. And instead of feeling attracted to it, we feel the opposite. We pull away. We want space. We want freedom. It's the same way when someone clings to you, you feel suffocated. But when someone stands on their own, when someone radiates strength and calm without needing anything from you, suddenly you are drawn to them. Suddenly they feel rare, valuable, magnetic. Women are no different. They don't want the man who needs them to survive. They want the man who is already strong, already whole, already unshakable. Because when a man is complete in himself, being with him feels like a choice, not a burden. And choice is attractive. Burden is not. Now let's go even deeper. Imagine you're walking into a room full of people. Two men are standing there. One looks around nervously, hoping someone will notice him, hoping someone will talk to him, hoping someone will give him approval. The other stands quietly, not begging for attention, not chasing anyone's validation. He's grounded, calm, and he knows who he is. Who do you think people will notice more? Who do you think women will gravitate toward? Of course, it's the second man. Why? Because humans are drawn to certainty, to confidence, to strength that doesn't scream for attention but simply exists. This is the harsh truth. Women don't want to be the reason you stand tall. They want to stand next to a man who already stands tall on his own. They don't want to be the source of your confidence. They want to feel your confidence and be pulled into it. They don't want to fix you or complete you or carry you. They want to feel that you are already whole. And in that wholeness, there is space for them to choose you. Most men make the mistake of thinking love is about giving everything, about proving how much they care, about showing how badly they want her. But this is a trap. When you try to prove yourself, when you try to earn her love with desperation, you only prove that you don't believe in your own worth. And the moment you signal that, attraction dies, respect fades, interest disappears. What makes a man magnetic is not his need for love, but his lack of need. He can love deeply, yes. He can care fully, yes. But he doesn't cling. He doesn't beg. He doesn't lose himself in the process. And this is exactly why women are drawn to him, because he is rare. He is the man who cannot be controlled by fear of losing someone. He is the man who will walk away before he betrays his own values. And that kind of strength is irresistible. Stay with this thought because it's going to change you. If you're tired of being overlooked, if you're tired of giving everything only to get nothing in return, then you need to understand this principle. The less you need, the more you attract. The less you beg, the more you receive. The less you depend, the more powerful you become. Women feel it. The world feels it. And once you master it, life begins to work differently for you. This isn't about being cold or heartless. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about caring without losing yourself. It's about being open to love without being enslaved by the fear of losing it. Because when you don't need, you are free. And freedom is the most attractive energy a man can have. Now ask yourself this, are you living as the man who needs or the man who stands strong without it? Because the answer to that question will decide everything. Your relationships, your respect, your happiness, all of it begins with this truth. Women want men who don't need them. Not because they don't want to be loved, but because they want to love a man who is already whole. And once you step into that version of yourself, once you choose to stand in your own power, you'll realize that you never needed anyone to complete you. You were always enough. And from that place, Everything else flows naturally. Do you want me to continue and write the second section with the same deep motivational style? Here's the paradox of attraction. The more you try to hold on, the faster things slip away. The more you chase, the more they run. The more you show you need someone, the less they want to give themselves to you. This isn't just some cruel trick of life. It's psychology. People crave what is not easy to get. We are wired to value what is scarce, to desire what feels just beyond our reach. And the moment you make yourself too available, too desperate, too willing to give up everything, you stop being a prize and start being a possession. Attraction is not about constant giving. It's not about drowning someone with attention. It's about creating space where curiosity can grow. It's about letting your presence mean something because it is not handed out cheaply. When a man doesn't need, when he doesn't beg, when he stands strong in who he is, he becomes the rare energy that women want to chase. Not because he's playing games, but because his life, his focus, his energy is already full. He is not looking to be rescued. He is not trying to be completed. He is whole, and wholeness is magnetic. Neediness, on the other hand, destroys attraction because it sends one loud signal: I am not enough without you. That signal repels. It suffocates. It drains the very spark that attraction needs to survive. Women are not drawn to men they have to build from scratch. They are drawn to men they can admire, men who already stand firm, men who bring strength into their world. This is the paradox. You get what you stop desperately chasing. You receive when you no longer beg. You attract when you let go of the need to be chosen. And once you see this truth clearly, you begin to shift. You stop pouring all your energy into convincing someone to want you. Instead, you channel it into becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to convince anyone at all, because the man who doesn't need is the man who naturally attracts. Independence is power. A man who stands on his own feet, who builds his own life, who knows his value without needing constant reminders, this man is magnetic. People can feel it in his energy, in the way he carries himself, in the silence that surrounds him. He doesn't need approval to move forward. He doesn't need validation to feel alive. And that's exactly what makes him stand out, because most people are trapped in the opposite. They are hungry for attention, desperate for love, starving for someone else to fill the emptiness inside. But when you don't live in that hunger, when you are already full, you become the rare one. Women are not looking for perfection. They are looking for stability. They are drawn to the man who can handle himself, who doesn't fall apart at the smallest setback, who doesn't cling to them as his only source of happiness. This independence doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you shut yourself off. It means you have a foundation so strong that no one can shake it. And when a woman feels that kind of strength, she feels safe. She feels respect. She feels admiration. That is what creates real attraction, not desperate affection, but unshakable stability. When you build your life around your purpose, your vision, your mission, everything changes. You stop waiting for someone else to give you direction. You stop begging for someone else to give you meaning. You already have meaning. You already have direction. And because you are already complete, women naturally want to be part of your journey, not the center of it. Independence doesn't push love away. It attracts the right kind of love. It pulls in people who respect your strength, who want to stand beside you, not above you. That is the true power of independence. It makes you valuable, and value is always desired. Neediness is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. You can feel it when someone wants you too much, when every word, every action, every gesture screams for approval. It creates pressure. It creates weight. It feels like they are trying to pull something from you that you don't want to give. That's because neediness doesn't come from love. It comes from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear of losing. And fear never inspires respect. It only pushes people away. Humans are wired to sense desperation. It doesn't have to be spoken. It's felt in the body language, in the tone of voice, in the way someone reacts too quickly or overinvests too soon. It sends a clear signal: weakness. And weakness is not attractive. It doesn't inspire admiration. It doesn't make someone want to draw closer. Instead, it raises red flags. It makes people pull back because deep down, no one wants to carry the burden of being someone's entire source of happiness. This is why neediness repels while strength attracts. When you don't need, you move differently, you speak differently, you carry yourself with calm certainty, not frantic energy. You are not chasing validation. You are living from a place where you already know your worth. And that is the kind of energy people can't ignore. Women especially feel the difference. They are not searching for a man who depends on their love for survival. They are searching for a man who chooses love freely, but who doesn't collapse without it. Think about it. A man who is desperate loses his power the moment he meets someone he desires. He bends, he compromises, he gives up parts of himself to be accepted. But a man who isn't desperate keeps his frame. He respects himself too much to beg. And because he doesn't need, he becomes the man who is wanted. That is the psychology of attraction. The moment you stop clinging, you create space for others to chase. There is something powerful about a man who can remain calm and collected no matter the situation. This is the essence of detachment. It doesn't mean being cold or emotionless. It means having control over your emotions instead of being controlled by them. A man who is detached doesn't overreact when someone ignores him. He doesn't beg for attention when it isn't given, and he doesn't crumble when faced with rejection. He simply stands firm, knowing that his value doesn't rise or fall based on anyone else's approval. That quiet confidence is magnetic. Detachment creates a sense of mystery, and mystery fuels attraction. When you don't reveal everything at once, when you don't chase every second of someone's attention, you force them to lean in, you give them space to wonder, to think, to question, and in that space, curiosity grows. A man who is detached doesn't broadcast desperation, he broadcasts control. He is not swayed by every opinion, not shaken by every shift, not thrown off balance by emotions he cannot control. That is rare. And what is rare is always valuable. Women are naturally drawn to this energy because it feels safe. A man who is detached cannot be manipulated easily. He cannot be controlled by guilt or fear. His emotions are steady. His presence is stable. And that stability is what makes him trustworthy. It's not about withholding love. It's about not being enslaved by the need for it. True attraction grows when a woman feels she is choosing a man freely, not when she feels he is trying to force her affection through constant pursuit. This silent confidence is the difference between chasing and attracting. Chasing says, I need you to complete me. Attracting says, I am already complete and you are welcome to be part of my world. That shift in energy changes everything, because the man who is detached doesn't lose himself in the presence of others. Instead, others are drawn into his presence. Love without respect is fragile and it never lasts. Respect is the foundation, the soil where attraction and love take root. Without it, everything else falls apart. A woman may be impressed by charm, looks, or sweet words for a short time, but if she doesn't respect the man behind those things, her desire will fade. Respect comes before love, and it is earned through strength, not through weakness. A man earns respect when he has standards, when he draws lines and refuses to cross them just to please someone else, when he stands firm on his values even when it's uncomfortable. Women don't admire a man who says yes to everything. They admire the man who knows when to say no, the man who won't sacrifice his identity just to keep temporary peace. This type of strength creates security. It shows he can lead, he can protect, and he can stand on his own even when life tests him. Think about it. How can someone truly love a man they don't respect? Love built on pity isn't real. Love built on neediness isn't real. Real love comes when respect is present first, when admiration grows naturally because of the way a man carries himself. A woman cannot feel deep attraction for a man she looks down on, but she will give her loyalty to the man she looks up to. This is why boundaries matter so much. Without them, you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose the very thing that makes you attractive. Respect flows from self-respect. The more you honor yourself, the more others will honor you. And the moment you start living with that truth, everything changes. Because a man who demands respect without ever begging for it becomes the man who doesn't just attract love, he keeps it. One of the biggest mistakes men make is believing that constant attention will win a woman's heart. They think the more they give, the more they chase, the more they pour themselves out, the stronger the love will grow. But human nature doesn't work that way. What is always available, what is always predictable, what is always overflowing without boundaries, it loses its value. Attention becomes cheap when it is endless. Scarcity creates value. The less of something there is, the more people want it. This is why luxury items are prized, not because they are always the best, but because they are rare. The same principle applies to your presence and attention. If you are always there, if you never hold back, if you never create space, you take away the chance for someone to truly appreciate you. When a man gives all of himself without pause, he unknowingly teaches others to take him for granted. It doesn't mean withholding love or playing games. It means recognizing that your energy, your time, and your focus are precious. When you give them all too easily, they lose meaning. But when you give them from a place of strength, when you choose moments intentionally, they carry weight. They become powerful, memorable, and respected. Women don't want to be drowned in attention. They want attention that feels real, that feels earned, that feels special. Constant validation doesn't create love, it creates dependence. And dependence is fragile. What lasts is attraction built on balance, knowing when to give, knowing when to hold, and knowing that your worth is not measured by how much you chase. When your attention becomes something rare, it becomes something valuable. And what is valuable is always desired. The strongest energy a man can carry is the energy of purpose. When your focus is on your mission, when your life is built around growth, vision, and goals bigger than yourself, you naturally become magnetic. People are drawn to direction. They are drawn to momentum. A man who is moving forward doesn't have to beg anyone to follow. His path inspires others to want to walk with him. Women feel this more than anything. They want to be part of a man's world, not his entire world. When a man makes a woman his only focus, he loses his balance. He gives up his mission, his goals, his drive, and in doing so, he loses the very qualities that attracted her in the first place. Love isn't about abandoning yourself. It's about standing so firmly in who you are that someone else wants to join you on the journey. A man with purpose doesn't chase validation because he already finds fulfillment in his growth, his discipline, his pursuit of greatness. This doesn't mean closing your heart or ignoring love. It means building your foundation so strong that love becomes an addition, not a replacement. A woman respects a man who can lead himself, who can stay focused even when life gets tough, who won't abandon his mission out of fear of losing someone. That kind of strength is irresistible because it shows she can trust his direction. Purpose is the fire that fuels respect and attraction. Without it, a man becomes empty, dependent, and easily lost. With it, he becomes unshakable. He doesn't need someone to validate him because his life already has meaning. And when he invites a woman into that life, she feels chosen, not as a savior, but as a partner. That's the difference between neediness and power. One clings to love for survival. The other builds a life so strong that love becomes the reward, not the rescue. True strength is often misunderstood. Many think it's about being loud, aggressive, or unfeeling. But real strength isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. A strong man doesn't need to prove himself to everyone he meets. He doesn't let emotions control his actions. He doesn't collapse when life throws challenges at him. Real strength is quiet. It's steady. It's the ability to remain calm in the storm and still make the right choices. A man who embodies this kind of strength becomes deeply attractive because he shows he can be trusted. Women are not drawn to coldness, they are drawn to stability. They don't admire a man who lashes out in anger or who crumbles under pressure, but they respect the one who stands tall when it matters most. This kind of self-control signals maturity, and maturity creates admiration. Being strong doesn't mean being distant. It means being able to love without losing yourself. It means you can give affection without becoming dependent on it. It means you can care deeply but still walk away if your respect is compromised. That balance is rare, and it's the balance that separates real strength from weakness disguised as love. When you don't need to control everything around you, when you don't need someone else to complete you, you become free. And freedom is what makes your presence powerful. It's the difference between clinging and choosing. A weak man clings to love out of fear. A strong man chooses love out of strength. And when a woman feels that, she doesn't just feel attracted, she feels inspired. Because deep down, everyone is searching for that kind of steady energy. The kind that doesn't waver. The kind that makes them feel safe. That is the true definition of strength. and it's what sets a man apart from the rest. There comes a point when you realize that everything you've been chasing is not what creates attraction. It's not in the constant calls, the endless messages, or the desperate attempts to stay on someone's mind. What truly creates desire is the man who doesn't need to chase at all. The man who knows his value so deeply that he refuses to beg for love. That kind of presence is unforgettable. When you stop needing, you stop pressuring. And when you stop pressuring, the space between you and another person becomes filled with curiosity, respect, and genuine interest. Women do not fall for men who cling. They fall for men who allow them to choose. That freedom to choose makes the connection real, and it makes it powerful. A man who is not afraid of walking away holds the highest value because he shows he is not controlled by fear. Fear of losing keeps most men trapped, but the man who rises above that fear becomes untouchable. This doesn't mean you hold back love or play mind games. It means you shift your energy from proving yourself to owning yourself. It means you understand that respect, admiration, and attraction are built when you live with standards, when you protect your boundaries, and when you refuse to compromise your identity for anyone. That's not arrogance, it's self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of all lasting attraction. The truth is simple. Women want a man they can admire. They want a man who can stand tall without their constant reassurance. They want a man who chooses them, not because he needs them to survive, but because he values them as part of his already strong life. That difference is everything, because the man who doesn't need doesn't just win love. He commands it, he attracts it without begging, and he keeps it without fear. That is the kind of man who becomes unforgettable.